Good afternoon, good afternoon. Hope all is well. This is Michael Hatsis, aka Bang Include, aka Mikey Bang Bang, coming at you from sunny San Juan, Puerto Rico. And hope all is well with everyone today and every day. And yeah, so let's get on into it. So today I want to jump into some of my favorite stuff, creative stuff, and what we're going to check out is just different techniques for making things really bouncy. Okay, adding some movement and bounce, glitch, chops, that kind of stuff to just basic melodies, right? The idea of side chaining, ducking, right, where we just take a sound and just kind of use it to lower the volume of a different sound, right? I'm not going to get into the whole like what side chaining is and all of that stuff just due to time, but I'm sure you're going to hear the results and you'll know what's going on. All right, so let's going to check this out real quick. Everything looks good. All right, so yeah, let's dive on in. So I have a little song here, or a little idea. All right. And then there's like another little thing that comes in. All right, so a little, just something real basic, but like I said, it's made to send to a vocalist, that kind of thing. And at this point now, I want to add a little bit of movement, a little bit of bounce via side chain. Okay, so again, side chaining is basically using one sound to manipulate another sound. Okay, again, last time we looked at the Ableton's Echo and we talked about how there's the ducking section, and basically the analogy I gave, or not the analogy, but the use case I gave was when you're listening to a DJ on the radio and you're hearing the music, you hear the music and it's nice and loud and crisp, and then all of a sudden the MC or the DJ, whatever, starts talking and the music lowers, right? So basically, you could hear the MC, DJ, whatever you want to call them, talking over the music. Okay, so that lowering of volume, obviously you could do it by yourself manually with a fader, okay, or you could set up a compressor, and what happens is when the DJ starts talking, the compressor kicks in and then it in turn lowers the music. Okay, so we could take that idea and get very creative with it. Many people have done this kind of thing. Some great examples are people like Deadmau5 to Flying Lotus. Nowadays, people like Flume, use side chaining to great effect. Okay, there's even different kinds of side chaining plugins you could use. Different things like the biggest one is LFO Tools by X4 Records, same guy who makes Serum. Steve Duda, one of my favorite plugin designers out there. Love everything that guy does, and I think a lot of people do as well. Okay, so today we're going to look at the compressor and the gate. Okay, and then the next one we're going to look at the auto filter and some of the Max for Live stuff. All right, so that's what's on the plate today. So hopefully we'll make it over to the gate. We're going to start with the compressor, and like I said, move over to the gate. I guess if it takes more than 2 sessions, depending on what y'all think, we'll keep it going. All right, so let's just see what we got here. All right, so cool. So why would I want to use Ableton plugins or devices instead of something like the LFO tool or one of the various other, or even Serum? You could do this kind of stuff with Serum, which would be a cool video and stuff. But why would I want to use something like Ableton's natives over something like LFO tool? Well, for me, I'm just so comfortable using Ableton and kind of manipulating Ableton and making curves and all that kind of stuff that you know, just for me, it makes more sense, and I'm quicker using Ableton. I have more control over things with Ableton. All right, because again, I have these different plugins. I could use things like the compressor. I could use things like the gate. I could use things like the auto filter, right? So a lot of different options. Obviously, you could kind of do that stuff in LFO Tool, but again, once we look at the, I believe it's called the envelope follower, it's just like you could sidechain anything, right? Any knob in Ableton, you could sidechain. All right, so, you know, it's just the flexibility and ease of use for me is the thing that puts it over the top in terms of Ableton's native stuff versus, you know, third party, right? Native always is gonna be easier for me anyway. All right, so now what I wanna do is usually like in my template, I have this little, you can see up here. So let's check out what we have here. Just check out the beat anyway. Super basic, but I think it's got a kind of cool feel to it. All right, anyway, so let's start there. And the first thing we want to do is, like generally people use their drum kit. So here's my drum kit. All right. And, you know, a lot of times people just use their drum kit, like you got your kick, you know, you can sidechain to the kick or whatever you want, okay? For this particular exercise, I'm gonna kind of make my own, you know, side chaining setup, okay? And I'll show you a couple different ways to approach it. And the idea with that is just so you could kind of figure out what works best for you, right? Everyone's a little bit different and unique and special, and different things work better for some than others, all right? So yeah, so I'm just gonna delete the sidechain track I have right here, and I'm just gonna do Command-Shift-T, Control-Shift-T on Windows. And yeah, I'm just gonna throw, you know what, I'm just gonna throw in like a basic kit. Let's see what I got here. I got some packs from the Ableton 10 sounds, or I'm sorry, 11 sounds. Let's see what we got. Yeah, this will work, right? And basically what I'm looking for now is just a bunch of different drums, okay? And what I want is just drums of different lengths, okay? Because you'll see later why that is. The different lengths of the drums are gonna influence the sidechain. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is, actually I'm gonna leave the effects, why not? All right, usually I get rid of all the effects real quick, but yeah, I'm just gonna kind of keep it simple. Do things I don't normally do. Looking for like a hi-hat. Here we go. All right, that one's a little beefy, but whatever, we'll go with it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna make a pattern, okay? And we'll start off simple. We'll start off with like the basic side chaining example, which is a kick is gonna be triggering the compressor. Okay, so let's just go here and let's just go like that. All right, so yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna throw in the Ableton compressor, and I'm gonna open up the sidechain section, turn it on, and I'm gonna grab my input. Let's just rename this. Gotta be organized. I'm just gonna call that SC. All right, and I'm just gonna make this. Usually I do like white, black, that kind of thing, just so I know that it is just kind of like not making any sound. It's just, you know, there for sidechaining. Okay, and the other thing I'm gonna do is mute the track. Right, so I turn off the speaker, so we're not actually hearing it. Okay, because all I want this thing to do is just trigger the compressor at this point. Okay, so again, I got these kicks, and I got my compressor up. And I'm just gonna grab from sidechain and the kick. Alright, I'm just grabbing the audio pre-effects because for now I don't want any effects on the kick before it's being sidechained. Like I just want the basic kick, that kind of thing. Alright, so let's set this up and I'm just gonna lower the threshold, right? Threshold is basically the when it's gonna start compressing or lowering the volume. Right, so again, now you kind of hear when the kick hits, right, you get this kind of nice bounce to it, right? And again, I'm lowering the threshold quite a bit so it's very obvious. And that's kind of what I want in this example, okay? So, all right, so let's crank up the ratio. Again, the threshold and the ratio combine to decide how much of that pumping kind of sound we want, right? So the higher the ratio, the lower the threshold, the more that we're gonna get. Let's hear it in context. It's cool, it needs a little bit of tweaking, all right? So one thing I personally love to do is turn on the sidechain EQ, okay? And again, like I said, this is all about customization, right? Something to do, you know, trying to do this in LFO tools, right? What I'm trying to do is change the length of the pump, okay? Like the duck, the pump. I want it to be a little bit shorter. I want it to be a little bit quicker, right? So one way to do that is with the release. The other way to do it is with the sidechain EQ, all right? So what does the sidechain EQ do? So let's solo this. All right, so I'm gonna turn it off, okay, and I'm just gonna turn the gain up for a little so we can hear what's happening, okay? And again, right now we're hearing all of the kick drum, okay? And obviously you know what EQs do. EQs just to kind of cut, boost different parts of the sound. So right here we have an EQ that is just going to either cut or boost certain part of the sound coming in from the sidechain section. Okay, so basically I could shape the kick that is pumping the sound, all right? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go in there and I'm just gonna high pass it, okay? And what you hear there is now this is what's triggering the kick. So you can hear it's like shorter, snappier, right? So let's hear it in context. Right, so it's a lot quicker. Now if I turn this off, right, it's way more obvious. Right, the release as well. As I turn up the release, you can hear that it's pumping longer. I can also do the obvious if I only want the sub, right, the low part, which again, there's a longer tail to it. Right, I could set up the low pass. Hear it in context. It's a little bit much. Just gonna pull the ratio back so it's not as potent. So that's like your basic setup, okay? But the beauty is that since we have this here MIDI track, or you could call it a ghost track, you know, we could just do whatever we want here. Right, so you see how now that I move the kicks, we're getting a whole different type of bounce, right? It's bouncing on different parts of the beat. Cool, so I'm just gonna stick with something like this. All right, for now I think this is good. I'm actually gonna hit it a little bit harder. All right, cool. So let's add in another drum. I wanna add something a little bit shorter. right? Because I don't want it to be as, all right, something like this, open hat, shaker, whatever. Yeah, here we go. So let's do something like this. And then, all right, we can always change it later. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just duplicate this here compressor, and right, gonna grab from sidechain. So let's just name these. So this is gonna be kick 1 and 3, and this is gonna be, I don't know what that was. What was it? Hat. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that for now. Let's just check over here, see how we're doing. All right. Cool, so let's get rid of it. Nope. All right, and like I said, everything's completely customizable. So I could go in here and shorten this thing, this hat. Right, and again, this is going to be the thing triggering the volume drop. All right, so cool, so let's check this out. Let's see how it sounds. And let's see, did I? All right, hang on a second. I gotta change something up for some reason. I had the wrong, my bad. So let me grab the kick. Yeah, I had the wrong, so now you can see it with the kick. We're gonna turn off the EQ for this. Alright, let's just hear the hats by themselves. So I think we're at a pretty good spot, right? Lots of different movement going on, lots of different movement. It's a little bit much, right? Like it's a little bit too bouncy. So what I personally like to do is I like to toss one of these here OTTs, the OTT, the OTT, after, right? And obviously it's gonna flatten it a bit, but I'm gonna kind of do it by, I'm gonna use this amount knob to dial the OTT back, right? So the OTT is just like, what it does is it just flattens things out, okay? Now you could use any kind of compressor you want, okay? But again, the idea is to compress it after you sidechain, okay? So again, it kind of levels it out a bit, so it's not as bouncy, if that makes any sense. Like it just kind of, well, let's check it out, let's check it out. So let's just start with the default. Right, so again, now it's kind of flat, right? It kind of, all that bounce is kind of gone. When I turn this on, so I'm taking the amount down. All right, so amount is the overall amount that this thing is going to flatten the incoming sound, okay? And then we also have a really nice time control, okay? If you go clockwise on the time control, it's going to make it a bit more punchy, right? In this situation, it's kind of weird, but generally it's going to make it more punchy, whereas this way it's going to make the dynamics a bit more flat. Right? You can kind of, as you can kind of hear there. Big difference from this side to that side. Right? And I just have the limiter here just to kind of, you know, give it a little extra, but I don't really want to see too much limiting. I just want it there again, just to see a little bit, you know, just a tiny bit, or just kind of more even as a meter, if that makes sense. Go back now that I got my odd settings in. I'm just gonna go back here, right? It's just like cooking. You just go in there while you're cooking, you know, you taste it a little bit, see what's up, see where you're at, right? Add a little spice, add a little salt, pepper, you know, a little water, little whatever you need there, right? Same thing, just kind of go back, tweak things a little bit. Cool. I'm kind of happy with that, and yeah. So let's move on to the gate. Okay, so I want to try to play with the gate a little bit, and I'm gonna kind of go over the gate just to, you know, some people are not too familiar with the way the gate works. So I'm just gonna toss it on the same track. Actually, let's put it on something else so I can do the explainer, and let's put it on, yeah, let's just put it on the drums. Okay, so basically what a gate does is it's a dynamic effect. Okay, so it falls in the dynamics family of effects with compressors, expanders, gates, limiters, that sort of thing. And what the gate does is say, by default, it's going to say, I want only things that are a certain volume to come out of the effect. Okay, so it's like basically anything over a certain volume is going to come out of the effect, right? Signal goes in, gate says you're too quiet, out of here, all right? If it's too quiet, the gate is just gonna mute it, okay? Or, you know, set it to whatever you want. Set it to the floor value, which here is negative infinity. Okay. If a sound is loud, it's going to let it pass through. Okay. The way I look at a gate is kind of like if you ever went to a amusement park when you were young, okay, and they had those roller coasters or the water slides, and you know you just weren't old enough to get on there, right? You go up to the line, you're waiting on the line forever, like 2 hours on the line, complaining, and you finally get to the end of the line, ready to get on the roller coaster, and there's that little sign that measures how tall you are, and it says, if you are not this tall, you cannot go through onto the ride. That's basically a gate, okay? It's the same thing where if you're too short, you can't go on the ride. If you're too tall, you could go on the ride. Or if you're taller than a certain level, you're allowed to go on the ride. That's basically what a gate is doing. A gate is basically saying that if a volume is over a certain amount, right? Like if you're taller than this threshold, or if the signal is taller than this threshold, right? You're allowed to go through. Okay, so we're gonna hear anything that's above negative 10.2 decibels. All right, but if it's below that, it's too short. It's saying, you know what, go back, go to the kiddie rides, get out of here, go do something else. All right, so that's basically what a gate does. All right, hope that made sense. Now, let's just see, maybe we got some questions. No. All right, beautiful. So let's keep it moving. And all right, so let's keep it moving. So again, we're just gonna check out the gate with these here drums. And let's play with the threshold. Right, so check this out. So right now I have the threshold set to about 0 dB, okay? And all we hear is the kick, right? Because it's the loudest one. You can see all the hats and snares and all that fun stuff in the back. Not tall enough for this ride, people, right? Just not tall enough for the ride. Ain't hearing them, okay? If I lower this a little bit, we start hearing a couple more things come through, all right? But let's take it back up. So we just hear the kick, and let's talk about our envelope, all right? So the envelope works just like any other envelope, okay? And in this situation, the envelope for the attack is basically how long it takes once the sound goes over the gate to let it through. Right, so we could smooth out sounds with the gate, right? If something's too punchy, right, you could soften up the beginning with the attack. That's not what I want to do here, but maybe later on. Okay, then we also have a hold and a release. Okay, hold is just how long you're gonna hold, or you can hear the sound once it's above threshold, right? If we increase the hold, you can hear the gate is open for longer, right? All right, hold that gate open, release, right? Once the signal goes below the threshold or shorter, too short to get on the ride, how long it takes to close the gate. Okay, and then floor is how loud we want the signals to be that don't go through. All right, so if it's too short, right now we're not gonna hear it at all. Now we're hearing it a little bit, right? So very flexible stuff, very flexible stuff. Okay, now, just gonna be honest, I love Ableton, but this gate is not a very good sounding gate. Okay, if y'all want like a really nice sounding gate, I recommend the FabFilter gate. Okay, but for the exercise, right, this thing works perfectly. All right, I'm not gonna steer people in the wrong direction. Just saying, this gate is not really the best sounding gate. Still love you, Ableton, but yeah, you know, there's other companies that spend like weeks, months, years designing a gate, and the FabFilter one, it just has such a nice kind of feel to it, and it's just so smooth if you want. Very nice sound. Okay, we got to look ahead. Look ahead is basically like how long into the future do you want to look to see what's coming? Generally, the longer the look ahead, the less snappy it's going to be. That's with a compressor anyway. This one, yeah. Right, basically with the look ahead, you're giving it more time. Right, if you have a longer look ahead, you're giving the compressor more time to do the job it's supposed to do, or the gate in this situation. Okay, so you're just kind of like helping it out, right? Giving it a longer look ahead. But sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want to choke up the compressor. Okay, like this kind of sounds good. I kind of like that, right? It's got a little bit more snap to it. Right, different sound, all together. All right, cool. So those are the controls on the gate. We also have a return. Return is basically when the gate's going to close. It's like an extra control. All right. So now we also have flip mode. Right? Flip mode is just doing the opposite. Right? We're only going to hear low stuff. Right? Very clicky. Probably want to go to 10 milliseconds on this, so it's a little bit smoother. right? So again, now we're not hearing the loud stuff, or you know, the loud stuff is being subdued. All right, beautiful. So for now, little exploration on the gate, and let's toss that in here. Let's actually start with a whole new gate, because I don't even know where we are with this thing, and yeah. So I'm gonna find, I don't want to do too much. There's already a lot of stuff going on. Let's see, let's turn this on. I want a really short sound for this one. So let's try something like this. Right, we'll just do the whole thing, right? Just 8 notes throughout. And let's go back here, open up the sidechain section, and I'm just gonna play the beat like it's easy if you play the drums when you're choosing your sidechain source. Sometimes, let's see, I think it is kick. Here it is. I'm gonna do pre-effects for now, okay? And cool, so let's see this. And let's just turn off these two for a second just to kind of hear this gate by itself. Right, so you can hear it's doing the 8th note thing. Right, sometimes it's nice, if you don't want it too much, you can bring up the floor. Right, so it's not completely muted. Right, I just want a little bit. I kind of like that snap with the 0 milliseconds look ahead. Let's try to flip. There we go. Right, I'm just pushing this more into the OT so that it compresses it more. Okay, that's really what I'm doing. Like, so very bouncy. Not as bouncy. Let's hear it in context. And I want to hit this kick a little bit harder. Very cool, very cool. Kind of like what we got going here. And yeah, let's move on. So we have this thing as well. Right, so what I could do is, I could just go in here and I could just copy this whole chain. Right, because basically what we have is, we have a call response, right? So here's the call. Here's the response. So, like I said, I could just copy this whole thing. I'm just gonna option drag, toss her in there. Gonna have to adjust some of these things. I might get rid of the kick and just increase the hat so we get more of the choppy. Over here, I'm not hearing it. Making little adjustments, just adjusting. And again, I could just throw, like, I don't have to use these exact things, right? I could do, like, for instance, let's stick with the 8th notes, all right? But I'm gonna move this tom over there, and I'm just gonna option drag the perk here. And so now I got 2 perk, okay? And let's see where perk 2 is. Perk 2 is there. So I could do something like that. Might not sound that good, but let's give it a shot. All right, so let's go back to this one. Gotta find it. Let's A/B it with and without the sidechain compressors or all the sidechain. So I'm just gonna map a key. I usually use just Q because it's like the easiest one, and I'm just gonna map both of them to the same knob or button in this situation. Okay, and if I just hit the Q, right, it turns both of them on and off. All right, so here it is without. Definitely add some movement, some life, right? Some color to what we're doing here. All right, cool. So, hey, we got Gingy in the chat. What's good, Gingy? How's it going? Hope you're enjoying. Big shout out to Gingy for coming through. All right, and let's just see. So we got some questions. All right, cool. So let's keep it moving. And yeah, so we have another something like this, right? And then we can even do, I could do one. Let's just double this out, right? Meaning double the length of the notes. Right, just to try different things. All right, so let's times 2. All right, look at that. Look at that. That's musicianship right there, huh? Fix that up. Little bit rough on the ear up top, so let's. touching it up. So yeah, let's move this here over. And the other thing is, like, you can have different patterns, right? Like, for instance, you could do fun stuff like, I could just use the invert, see what happens. Right, for like the intro or breakdown. Side, and I'm gonna use that for like a break later on. Cool, very cool, very cool. Now let's jump into this one, and yeah, we'll start with the gate because again, I want this to be choppy. And so here's another thing to think or to take into consideration is where in the signal chain would you like to place the gate? Okay, so you can see here that I have a reverb. All right, let's check out what this sounds like. Right, so again, the question is, do we want the reverb gated or do we want the sound or the reverb to extend the sound? Okay, and me personally, I'm gonna opt for, right now anyway, might change it later, I'm gonna opt for having the gate before the reverb because the gate will chop it and then you get that nice little tail with the reverb, okay? Anyway, that's a thinking in this situation. Cool, so let's see, yeah, here we go. So let's find something, so that, this one will work. So let's go in here. And yeah, I'm just gonna do something like this. And I'm just gonna shorten this one a little bit too. There we go. All right, again, remember that the length of the sound and the frequencies is going to have an effect. Right? Well, the frequencies will have an effect if we use the sidechain EQ. Cool. All right. So let's get going. Right? Let's set this up. I'm just gonna play this so I know, or I can find it easier, which still kind of tricky. All right. Track. There we go. Nope. Slam. Right, so again, now we're only hearing it when the drum is playing. I could do the opposite too. Right, so now it's kind of acting more like a compressor when you hit flip. I'm just gonna take the release down a little. All right, let's check it out. Now I'm gonna need to, boost this up a little bit. All right, a little bit short for my money. So I'm increasing the hold. Thing here. Let's add some more. Let's just double this out, right? I could just select that, drag it over. That's way better. octave, but it's just a little bit too much, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm throwing a chord on it. All right, so here's what we have. All right, the chord just adds notes. Okay, you can add up to 6. Okay, so I'm adding an octave at 62% velocity of whatever the note coming in is. All right, so it's just kind of a little bit lower. Well, here would be at 100. All right, and as I lower the velocity, you could hear the high note less, or this note less. There we go. All right, now I can even go in, right? We just have like a 1-bar pattern on this thing, which not always too fun. We can make it more interesting, beat-wise, doing 2 bars. So I'm just gonna go here, consolidate that, loop that up, right? So I just took 2 bars, consolidated, so now I have a 2-bar loop, and I'm gonna turn on loop. Okay, and what I wanna do is I wanna change the second bar for this thing. And I'm just gonna do something like that. Digging. Now, one thing I want to just get back to is let's hear the difference with the reverb, right? Just, if I can find it, yeah. So again, this is what it sounds like now. I have the reverb after the gate. If I put it before, right, you can hear it doesn't have that reverb tail, okay, which, you know, you may want. I kind of like it before, to be honest. Again, this is Ableton. I could throw one after too. But I like it before because it kind of makes it pop out a little bit more, right? It sounds a little bit too, like everything is just on top of each other. Whereas here, it just kind of pops out a little bit more. Yeah, so let's add a little bit. What else I got here? I think that's it as far as the melodies go. All right, but let's add, I don't know, like a compressor or something to it, or we can even do another gate. Let's try a gate, but we could do the invert mode. So again, I'm just gonna start with a fresh, actually no, let's just duplicate this because it's already side chained up. And let's just go in here and make something up. See this thing, yeah, this growl, got something soloed, yeah, ooh. Just getting the volumes right. Extend this out. And get back to what I was doing. So let's try this growl, I think. Right, another thing is you don't have to have everything on the same track, okay? It'd probably be easier to have things on different tracks, right? Like for instance, if let's see, the gate. Where's the gate? What did I use for the gate? I used this slant, right? So if I want, I could go to, I want to put it on its own track. See if I can find it. There it is, right? So if I want to put it on its own track, I'll just go extract, all right? And now it's on its own track. All right, so extracting chains, it's one of those beautiful features that just helps out oh so much. So let's just do gate. Snare. There we go. And yeah, so again, now I could just do stuff like move this here, put that there, right? I could take this out here, like that, right? Again, just change up the pattern. I actually like that, but wrong note. I want to take out this one. Cool. All right. Yeah, back to the gate. Right. I'm just getting too into this, but yeah, let's get back to the planned, the scheduled program. So yes, gate. So let's go here. So I duplicated it. So this is gate 1. So this is like, I don't know, we'll just call it perk pattern. And we'll just go here and just leave it a gate for now. And let's go down, right? So I made this track. I'm just gonna consolidate this so it's one clip. And boom. I'm just gonna call this slam 2. And let's just pop some stuff in there, okay? So I think I'm gonna do the opposite. I think I'm gonna do like the inverse. Let's just see how this sounds. Right? Again, if you've seen any of my previous videos, it's just kind of like just throw stuff out there, get things cooking, and then yeah, we can fix it up from there. All right, so let's try this. All right, so slam 2. I'm gonna go back here and see if I can find slam 2 in this beautiful long list of items. Let's hear the drums just to I got a better idea actually. Let's go here and I'm just gonna use like a real short and do a quick chop at the end here, right? So let's just do like crazy like 16th notes. Okay, and where is that? There we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna loop this part. Oops, sorry about that. All right, so I'm just doing these crazy. Let's turn this off. No, sorry about that. Let's just turn that off for now. All right. Cool, and again, so right now I'm just shaping the pattern I want. So we're gonna get like a little stutter. And then I want to get rid of this. Right? There we go. And I think I have this soloed. Yeah. Oh. And I'm not getting any volume. Cool. Now you notice here that this gate gets in the way of that gate, right? So what I could do is just automate this thing on. Right, so I'm just gonna automate it on right here. So let's just put up the pen. Let's play with the, give me 1 sec, let's just play with it a little bit, see what's up. I think I gotta, actually I gotta automate this one off. Alright, so let's turn this one off here. Alright, so one gets turned on, the other gets turned off. There we go. Cool. So let's just hear it in context. Right, just changing the pattern around. That's all I'm doing here, and we just got to change the automation. And all right, so let's just do that, and then. For some reason the pen does not want to. To be honest, probably better to do this with the compressor. It'll be a little bit less choppy, but you know, you kind of get the idea. All right, so again, let me just show you what I did here. And like I said, if I was to go back and do it, I would do it with the compressor instead of the gate, just because you could see I'm running into like all this automation, this and that. So I think it might just be smoother sounding with the gate also. So here are my gates. okay? And, right, so basically you can see here that when one turns on, the other turns off, right? So. So yeah, so that's what I did with the gates. Like I said, it's probably easier to do with the compressor, but you know, that's where I was at the time. All right. So anyway, I think that's gonna do it for me today. And like I said, next time, which I believe will be 2 weeks from today, we're gonna check out how to do, you know, some more of this stuff. We're gonna look at the auto filter. We're gonna look at some Max for Live devices and dig into those. Okay, and just see like how crazy we could get, you know, just like with Ableton native stuff, right? It's just like, it's just whole universe of possibilities here. All right. So again, hope you enjoyed, and you know, definitely check back next time. Today is, just for the date, today is Thursday, April 8th, 2021, if you're looking to catch the next one or whatever. And as I said, the next one will be in about 2 weeks, so on Thursday. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed. It was my pleasure just showing you, you know, some random fun stuff. And I hope this helps you take your music to new levels and prosperity. Anyway, take care. Thank you so much for checking it out. Bye-bye.